This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is. Damn, dark. Just dark.
I'm in a dark place today. I'm like the rest of the Heat. I gotta go to the cave and get back going. Either that or the power went out in my office. So this is what you wind up with.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. Still looks good. Overall, last night it was tough, a tough ending, but it was a familiar start. And that was the part that was kind of frustrating last night, that right from the get-go you said, oh, no, here we go again.
And I think we found out the reasons at the end. When P.J. Tucker did not play the fourth quarter at all and left the game for good in the third quarter, you had that. His knee wasn't right. We knew that Kyle Lowry from that hamstring was not right from game 3 against the Hawks and was sort of pushing just from that point to get back close to himself. So think about that, Big O. In every game, 40% of the starting lineup wasn't feeling right, and yet they had to push through that anyway. So they were playing at a deficit. You know, it's really interesting. The question is, do you play guys who were good players but not themselves, or do you go for guys who were 100%? And I think that's what you saw in the series is Eric Spoelstra constantly was weighing, do I go with the guys who got us here but aren't themselves, or do I go with other guys who could be better than maybe percentage-wise others? So at the end, you didn't have P.J. Tucker at all. Kyle Lowry wasn't the same. You know, he tried Tyler Hero, but that wasn't the Tyler Hero who won the Sixth Man of the Year award. That was some guy with a bum groin that really needed 2 to 4 weeks. Eric Spoelstra had something very interesting to say. He said, look, if we had a couple of days off between games, if it wasn't game travel, we might have really been able to get these guys in the training room. And that's the thing, so much of what all this about is made for television theater. And it's really good theater. And people tune in every other night. You get the East, you get the West, you get the East, you get the West. But so little in sports is done with the players in mind of maximizing what you see. And I think if there was a travel day...
unless you're Popovich. The only guy that's done that. He doesn't
during
care
the regular season.
He didn't care what the stage is. Yeah, he would set his players up. You know, example, which of course hindsight is 20/20. You take a 2-1 lead in game 3. In hindsight, you should have told Jimmy and PJ, guys, we got what we wanted.
And Kyle.
You need to rest. We'll see you in game 5. We're sending you right now to Miami. You're not even playing game 4. We're sending you right now with the trainers to Miami, and all you're doing for the next 3 days is treatment because I don't want, and then you ended up playing Jimmy 40 minutes and all that stuff. And it just, and it was kind of a snowball thing.
Yes.
And I just wonder if you give them rest in that game 4 that you lost anyway, and you go and what do you get in game 5? Do you get a chance to really put some pressure on them? You know what I mean? And that's the sad part. And throughout it, you just talked about it. He kept leaning to the veterans, and you know, last night, Kyle Lowry, a couple times, he probably should have put Kyle Lowry on the bench because, you know, by the way, you talk about the guys that got you there. The young guys got you there too.
Yes.
It wasn't just the old guys. Okay. Gabe and Caleb and Struce.
And Caleb didn't even play. And Caleb didn't even play on a night maybe he could have used his energy. But you know what? I understand what Eric Spoelstra did. He said, this is the moment. This is the moment we signed P.J. Tucker for. This is the moment we gave 3 years to 36-year-old, Kyle Lowry. This is the moment when we know we're going to extend Tyler Hero. I have to try. Look, you know what? Let's not play on Monday on our Acura Pembroke Pines Report. Let's not play the hindsight 50-50 game. We'll save that for Friday, and then we'll kill the Heat. But in the moment, understand these were tough choices. This was not Big O where you could say definitively, if Orlando Alzugaray was coaching the Heat on Sunday, I never would have done that because you might have. Because
I would have played Gabe more than Kyle. I would have. I mean,
and you can even make an argument for Caleb Martin. I mean, Victor Oladipo, when he pulled up for the 30-foot three-pointer at the end of the quarter, going for a 2-for-1 when it wasn't a 2-for-1. You know what? For some guys, the moment wasn't there. And you know what? I want to get to one thing real quick here. But the moment was there for Max Strus. Because even after his struggles to hit that late 3 and make it a 2-point game, that guy is a tough, son of a bitch. And if there's any question next season over who plays, whether it's Duncan Robinson or Max Strus, we know who's here and we know who probably won't be there. No Duncan Robinson at the end. And you know what? Oh, that's also ballsy because you have someone like Pat Riley who went out and signed Duncan Robinson to a $90 million contract. And this is what you have to love about the Heat. And yet the coach is allowed to make the decision not to play him at all. How many franchises, when the front office makes that kind of investment, would allow the coach to say, nope, not going to play him? Most teams will go, Mickey Harrison just spent $90 million on the guy. Get his ass in the game. So you got to respect, like you were talking about in your crosstalk leading in, about the franchises with pride and know how to do the things the right way. Eric Spoelstra had the freedom to be his best self, to try to craft the best game. And you know what? And you mentioned this also in the crosstalk. Let's go back to the beginning of the season, 106 games ago, before they opened the preseason. Orlando Alzugaray, be honest here, okay? Because I know you're a cynical son of a bitch. If I would have told you in mid-October the Miami Heat were going to the Eastern Conference Finals, what would you have said?
No, well, no, not in the preseason. No, remember once the young guys developed, I thought that was we got a shot.
I'm saying when this whole thing started, if I would have told you that, you would have said no way, or I'll take it, right? You would have taken it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
At the start of the playoffs, when you saw what we thought the Brooklyn Nets had, what we thought, okay, start of the playoffs, when we saw the Bucks before the Chris Middleton injury, when we saw the Sixers when they had James Harden and Joel Embiid, okay? If I would have told you, Big O, the Heat would have had one shot with 16 seconds to go to make the NBA Finals, you would have taken it, right?
For sure. No, there's no doubt in my mind, I would think.
Your point was so cogent coming in. There's only one team left satisfied at the end. Remember how bitter the Heat were in 2020 when they lost the Finals to the Lakers because of Bam's injury and Goran's injury, and they were 2 wins, well, 1 win from getting to a Game 7. It just is what it is. But step back for a second. 2 Eastern Conference Finals in the last 3 seasons. Jimmy Butler being the guy that very few teams would have taken the risk on with his reputation as a superstar. Well, if he's not a superstar right now, he's right there. And when you and I are coming Acura Pembroke Pines reports in the offseason and our Slomin's Home Security weekly shows on Wednesdays start doing the game we love to do in the offseason. Top 5 players in the NBA, top 10, top 15 players. We're going to have to talk about Jimmy Butler. Because if we don't, we're wrong. And that's what Jimmy showed. Because as you know, I love the phrasing.
By the way, no one superstar carries the team all the way. They usually have other stars next to them that help them out. That's Jimmy's problem right now.
As a matter of fact, when you have Anthony Chang on tomorrow on your Tuesday report, you can talk to him about what I talked to him about at the end. I had a vote for MVP of the series. I only vote for awards where there's no contract incentive for players. I don't want to get involved in some guy's Supermax, some guy's all-star bonus. I don't pay players. So I checked with the league, Tim Frank, head of PR, and I said, does this involve any cash benefit in any contract? He said, no, it's just for fun. So I took the vote. End of the game, I'm sitting there next to Anthony Chang. He's on my right. And I'm saying, Anthony, I'm in a tough spot. Because I'm thinking about voting for Jimmy Butler for MVP of the series. 41 and 35 and 47. But the word of the award is most valuable player. And value has to come with winning. That's why we play the game. So at the end of the day, I can't tell you how close I was to voting for Jimmy Butler for MVP of the series.
It's understandable if you gave it to Tatum.
But I gave it to Tatum and went with the flow because winning has to matter. Now, Anthony felt different. I think if he had the award, Jimmy would have gotten 2 votes for MVP of the series. I know he had a 6-point game when he only played the first half. I know he had an 8-point game when he came back in the game that you said he shouldn't have played when he sort of forced it. But in 4 games, there was no better player on the court in the Eastern Conference Finals than Jimmy Butler. The guy is an effing stud. The guy can be a jerk. The guy walked off the podium and said, I'm not going to talk to you for months now. And I told him, you're going to miss me, Jimmy. But I get his whole act and his whole shtick. But he is so Miami Heat. He is so Alonzo Mourning and P.J. Brown and Tim Hardaway and Dwayne Wade and Udonis Haslem. As you know, sometimes it's getting the right player for the right fit. And as you've seen with the Dolphins, whether it's Ndamukong Suh or someone like that, they might have all talent in the world, but they don't fit. Contractually, style-wise, ego-wise. Matter of fact, I'm going to put you on the spot because I hate when radio people do this to me. when they want a snap answer with no time to think. Orlando Alzugaray, of all South Florida's pro sports team, is there a better player who's a better fit with his franchise? In other words, you know how you talk about round peg in a square hole? This is round peg in a round hole. Is there another player? You can go through the Panthers and you can talk about maybe what Barkov has done. The Marlins, who the hell knows? I wouldn't think so. Inter Miami, Higuain's having
Hey, Leo
smoke.
Campana.
Okay,
Leo
all right.
Campana.
Okay, so you
Ring
gave
my
me an
bell, baby.
obscure name. Even the Dolphins, you were hoping that Tua would be that guy. We don't know that yet. You know, on the defensive end, you might say some of the guys really fit the Dolphins culture, but I'm not so sure there's a player in South Florida right now. And please talk to your experts the rest of the week.
No.
You know, I just think Jimmy fits the Miami Heat as much as any player, maybe ever, including Udonis, has fit this franchise. He is Miami Heat. He needs to get that Heat tattoo.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. There's nobody like Jimmy right now in town. He is the ultimate perfect fit. And he is, you know, I talked about this on Saturday, that you have to call him a superstar, whether you like it or not. The problem with people is, and we're just programmed that way, and it's normal. Magic Johnson was the greatest passer of all time. Steph Curry can shoot a 37-footer effortlessly. Sure. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a hook that you couldn't stop. Shaquille O'Neal's enormous size and athleticism was a freakish thing that we've never seen. Giannis Antetokounmpo is longer than Plastic Man and more athletic than a point guard. Kevin Durant dribbles like a point guard, shoots like a point guard, can play like a power forward. You know, so we're so used to our superheroes having these superpowers, but Jimmy's superpower is hard determination, and I'm going to run through you. And maybe his superpower is that he's unstoppable inside traffic. You know,
he's a freight train, and also
he's a different kind of superstar.
And he gets his fouls not through floppery, not through trickery. Right. He gets it because he has the savvy, like Michael Jordan, like Dwayne Wade, to know the game and how to leverage.
Early Dwayne Wade,
yes,
by the way.
Yeah, before he fell one time too many. He might. Jimmy Butler might, you know what? I'm going to put it this way. Jimmy Butler might leverage his level of talent more than almost any player in the NBA.
Amen.
Because you know what? Kevin Durant's more talented. Steph Curry's more talented.
All the guys I talked about, they're all more talented.
Right, and maybe even more athletic. But this guy is a savant in how he leverages. That if Jimmy Butler has X percentage of skill, he gets 99.9% out of it. We've seen times when Giannis doesn't. We've seen times when KD doesn't. The ultimate example is we've seen times when Kyrie doesn't, who has as much skill as anyone. Jimmy gives a crap. Jimmy gives it S-H-I-T, like Eric Spoelstra loves to spell out, as if it's not the same word when you say it. That's the difference. So you know what, as I sit here in my dark place on a dark Monday, I also look at it this way. This was a hell of a freaking season. This was a hell of a freaking run. The fact that on May 30th, we're sitting here still talking about basketball when we began back on October 6th in the preseason, it was a gift to South Florida at a time when you had a concurrent hockey run, an NBA run, and it was remarkable. And at the end of the day, only one of those two was standing this deep in the playoffs. So honestly, credit to every single one of them.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. I did not listen to all the press conferences last night. I kind of went to sleep. And
I know it was late because I texted you, and there was no text till this morning. It was a freaking late night. Yeah, and a gout attack overnight, which was really fun. Right.
But anyway, we're here. So, Kyle Lowry, I don't want you to be Hot Plate Williams. I don't want you to look like Oliver Miller. I don't want you to look like Rerun playing point guard. I'm just wondering, did anybody bring up the weight issue? Because as a fat guy, he is built like a talk show host. He's not built like a basketball player.
And it will be. I know it will be addressed.
One of the things I saw last night. Let me finish one thing.
Sure,
one thing. If that man loses the 20, 30 pounds, he can still be a hell of a player, because just for him to accomplish some of the things he has with all that extra weight on him and age. It is a miracle, and it shows you that he still has ability. The Lord has still blessed him with that ability. He must lose a lot of weight. I look at Jimmy Butler, and there's an older player. Look how he takes care of his body.
Absolutely.
And then I look at Kyle Lowry, and I say, there's got to be a part of him that feels like shit that he let his best friend down, dude. His best friend's in impeccable shape. And his motor's always there. And here is this guy trying to kill himself to play and help his friend, but he can't because physically he has put several cheeseburgers in the way, and he's got to stop, Ira. And I don't know if the heat will reach him, or is this going to be a problem, or is this a sign of things to come? So walk us through this.
Oh, I actually totally agree with you, and I will ask this when the Heat have their wrap-up season day and ask Eric Spoelstra, because it is a legitimate question. I know you'll be on the air at the time, but I will ask that in proxy for you. I will say this. Kyle Lowry missed over a month this season because of a family issue that took him back to Philadelphia, took him away from conditioning. When you are older, you need to have a constant conditioning regimen. And when you get away from that, you really get away from that. We go off the diet a little, very hard to get back on track. The weight goes on easy. The weight does not come off easy. So the hope has to be that he winds up being with the team the entire season, doesn't miss the time, and therefore will be able to stay in the Eric Ferran, Pat Riley conditioning program the entire season. I think that'll matter a lot. If Kyle Lowry missed so much time this season, but only one game during the regular season due to injury. It was COVID. It was his family matter, the kind of matter, again, I know people want specifics, but the kind of thing that every single listener here, including Big O, would have left their work and left their family to go back home.
I would never hold that against him. Right. But while you're away, dude, don't hit the drive-through. And by the way, he's been with the team every day for several weeks and loses no weight, and they're playing basketball every other night. So even with the team the last few weeks, I don't see him losing any weight at all. I don't see where you're coming
from. It is an issue. It has to be addressed.
It's a lack of professionalism. It's a lack of professionalism.
I don't think it's a lack of professionalism.
I don't know if he realizes it. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's like, I've always been like this. I've been the guy.
Okay, you know what? Okay. Can I stop you? Timeout. Going to call a timeout for this reason. Big O's going to be on the radio all this week, and he's going to put out all his podcasts, and he'll be too busy. So let me ask you, as your proxy here, the proxy for you, the proxy for the Acura Pembroke Pines report, because you also have to be subtle and tactful. So Big O, give me my question if Kyle Lowry addresses the media, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's Wednesday. Be honest, hero, because it's easy to be talk show bully. I've been there also. Give me your question. How would I phrase it? Yeah, so here we go. I am Kyle Lowry sitting on the podium. I am now pointing to the crowd. Tim Donovan's passing the microphone. Orlando Alzugaray. Question for Kyle Lowry. Honestly, Big O, give me your question. How would you phrase the question?
Kyle, you've had a hell of a season. You signed a big contract here with the Miami Heat. Obviously, Jimmy Butler is a great teammate of yours and a friend. But when you look at Jimmy, he's in incredible shape. You struggled a little bit this year with your conditioning. What are you going to do going into next year to come in better shape to help your team out? Because it looked like this year that was a struggle for you.
All right. I just recorded that. So when it's my turn, I will put the tape recorder to the microphone and we'll have a
you don't have. I get it. I can say here he's a few cheeseburgers away from, being
that's
in
what
shape.
I'm trying to tell people. Everyone's a bully.
We can't tell. Yo, hey, dude, are you on the Zion Williamson diet? Is that what's going on here? Like, obviously.
Come on, if you could, your question would be this. Hey, how about a small salad? I get it. I totally get it. And it's a legitimate question. And if Kyle does go to the podium, I'll make sure that I'll let Sean know. We'll get some sound for you.
Show him a picture of me and say, look, this is Big O. You look like Big O. You cannot look like Big O and play in the NBA. The Big O's don't play in the NBA.
And
that's why Oliver Miller, another Big O, ate his way out of the NBA. That's why Hot Plate Williams ate his way out of the NBA.
And I still have the picture of you and your Speedo on Tinder, so I'll just show him that instead. So that'll scare him straight. That'll be a scared straight moment, and we'll be good there. I understand, I appreciate your concern. I agree it's legitimate. I will ask Eric Spoelstra. I will ask Kyle Lowry if he talks, and I will ask Pat Riley.
I'm sure Riley and Spo talked about it. I'm sure they have gone back and forth and go, this is not under our umbrella here. This is not who we stand for. We can't demand everybody else to be in shape and then have Kyle go off on his own rules. That doesn't fly either. And he's got 2 more. Dude, I thought the back end of this deal was going to be bad, not the front end. And that's the part that,
you know what? Maybe it'll be reverse osmosis, and the back end will be better than the front end.
If he
threw it all,
the one thing I did see, like I told you, he has ability still. You can see it.
And savvy, yes.
Yes, just lose the damn weight, and you'll be a fucking hell of a player. I got to give Bam a little love. He doesn't show up enough. Okay, I get all of that. And I thought UD was interesting in how he came out and talking about his offense and all that. But overall, I got to. Bam showed up yesterday, man, on both halves. It wasn't like a streaky thing. He had a solid first half. He had a solid second half. We all want more from Bam, but I'll give him a little love yesterday. He did show up.
Yeah, and he understood the moment. And you know what, Big O? Even if it was just 2 or 3 games in this series from Bam, you can see it's there. And here's what's important. Bam now has film to go to. And they could show him. You could be game 3 Bam. You could be game 7 Bam. Or you could be game 1, 2, 4, 5 Bam. You have to make a decision. But at least now there's a template of what it takes for Bam to be his best self. And you feel good about Bam because the defense has always been there. And he was among those who helped keep the Celtics down in scoring this entire series, that even it took only 100 for Boston to win, even less than another game. So the defense was there anyway. I feel good about Bam. I feel good about Jimmy. I guess if I'm running down who I feel good about Max Strus. I feel good about Gabe Vincent. There's enough coming out of it. I feel good.
Wait a minute. How about this? How about one? I'm going to throw you a freaking curve because I don't know if you can feel about this. Neither can I. And good luck to Pat Riley in the front office. Victor Oladipo. Please explain the enigma to me, because last night there's a stage for you, dude. You had, what was it, 33 minutes or something like that for Oladipo? Yeah, 33 minutes. You shot 4 of 12, 1 of 7, a crazy ass 3. What can Victor Oladipo be? I feel like he's still an enigma.
What Victor Oladipo can be is healthier. That's the one word I would give you. He is not fully himself. And when he goes out to the free agent market, he is not getting that $20 million contract he envisions, his get-back contract. It'll be very interesting, and I'm doing my postseason capsules on the players. I'll print them later this week at the Sun Sentinel. We can go over them one by one when I give the grades. And what I wrote about Victor Oladipo is this. Can Victor Oladipo, at this point of his career, accept being a complimentary, backup, lower-scale paid player? Because that's what he is right now. He can be a very good...
Wait a minute. Can he adjust to that role? Or does he need to be volume in order to be productive?
That's the question. When I'm Pat Riley and I bring him into the suite overlooking Biscayne Bay, I tell him, I say, Vic, can you, if we bring you back, understand you will be Eric Spoelstra's 8th man. There might be some games you don't play. There might be some games you start when Jimmy or Kyle are out. But this is the role. This is the box that we feel you best check off. If you're better than that, fine. And that's the whole thing. Can Victor Oladipo check his ego at the door, or is he going to say, you know what? I'm going to go take the money from Sacramento, get me a crap ton worth of points and assists. I'm going to play 30 minutes a game because that's who I want to be. Or did you savor this opportunity? The first time in your career you were out of the first round of the playoffs. Did that mean so much to you, you want to do it again? So we will see in the negotiations who Victor Oladipo is. I don't begrudge any player for chasing money. I don't begrudge any player for chasing statistics and wanting to have a chance to showcase himself. But you can't have those two here. You can have a chance for a deep playoff run here. What's your priority?
And more importantly, Victor Oladipo, okay, well, I'm not sure, Ira, he can play the Vinnie Johnson role. I'm not sure he's that kind of player because he never was that kind of player. He was always a starter, a volume
Correct.
player, a volume shooter. And so he has to also look at himself and go, am I that kind of player? Can I do this? Can I come off the bench and be productive? Because if I can't, this won't last very long either for me.
Right.
And I'll be shipped off somewhere else immediately because the Heat's not going to tolerate. And if you looked at him in that role so far, and I know that he's still in the, of getting himself to be 100, he's not good in that role either, actually. I've seen actually Strus or Caleb actually come off the bench and play that role a lot better.
You have to grow into that role. You have to evolve as a player. You have to.
It's a gamble, my brother. It's a gamble. Right. You don't even know if he can do it or not.
Right, but Victor at 30 for the right price is worth the gamble. What's that number? What's that price? But more than anything, I need to look him in the eyes. Well, Pat Riley needs to look him in the eyes. Will you accept this? Will you accept it in November, in January, in March, that you are going to support Kyle, support Jimmy, support Tyler, support Max Strus, that all 4 of those guys are going to be ahead of you in the wing rotation? Are you cool with that? And if Caleb comes on, he might be ahead of you. Are you good with that? That's a decision he has to make.
All right, one more thing before I let you go. The Panthers had an explosive offense in the regular season. It did not translate to the playoffs. The Miami Heat were explosive in three-point shooting in the regular season. It did not translate to the playoffs. Why?
Because the closeout speed on defense is a different world in the playoffs. Because the Boston Celtics are a world-class defense. Not even good, best in the NBA. And it shows you. I remember the Heat Big Three teams. The one thing I noticed more than anything was the way they got from the paint and out to the shooters and back into the paint, closeout speed. So what it shows you is you need the kind of three-point shooters, like Duncan was at one point, that can get the shot off quick. You have to have the three-point shooters with the confidence to do that. God bless Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. But I'm sure every time they were about to shoot, there was something in their head was saying, or should Jimmy get the ball here? Or should Kyle get the ball here? Or should Bam get the ball here? That mindset evolves. Catch and shoot like that. That's where they have to get to. And again, this Boston defense was better than anything I have seen in years. This was better than the defenses the Heat played against when they made the finals in 2020, including the Lakers defense in the finals. So let's also have the perspective of they came up against a defensive juggernaut. And because of that, that also skewed the numbers also. So it's not like the Panthers for this reason. The Heat also had the grit and the defense to withstand that and get to a Game 7 and the final 16 seconds of a Game 7 and still be competitive. Because as long as they have the defense and as long as they have that grittiness that they have, they can withstand the three-point shooting. They did. They got to the end without making three-pointers because of all the other factors. And that, like you said, to sort of wrap up this whole extended Acura Pembroke Pines report, you said at the top, because of the culture and who they are, that they accept nothing less than expectations of greatness. So that helped carry them to the very few final seconds and to Jimmy Butler's all-or-nothing three-pointer.
Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch him a couple of times a week here all year long doing his thing with the Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat report. And on Wednesday, our Slomin's look around the NBA as we wrap up the NBA season with some finals here over the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, the very interesting NBA offseason, which is always intriguing. Ira, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. What are you working on in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friend?
I just posted a story about the emotion of what happens when the final buzzer sounds and how Kyle Lowry said it's a wasted season and nothing came out of it. And Jimmy said, even though I had 3 great games, I had to do more. And how Bam spoke of an emptiness. But if Eric Spoelstra also said, I looked at the locker room of guys who should not have been playing, but pushed through anyway, PJ and Kyle and Tyler, and that I know in my heart I can leave here with heads high because these guys gave every last ounce to the very last minute. And I thought that was very telling and a very cogent point. We've seen this before. LeBron ended his season in a dark place. Jamal Mashburn ended his season in a dark place. Tim Hardaway ended his season with, I'm going home and getting a bottle of Grand Marnier and chilling the F out. Remember that after we lost to the Knicks?
Many times, yes.
Yes, Jimmy Butler leaning over the stanchion against the Lakers in the 2020 finals down to his Lamaro. And all I know is, after 30 minutes of this, ask your folks at Acura if they can throw in some free leather for me. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. Ira Winderman and our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat season-ending report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big